Okay, so let's do the odds together in this video. So number 1 says 4x squared minus 19x minus 5. We're going to draw our little x. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20, because remember we multiply our first and last numbers together. And we're adding to negative 19. So this number is negative, which means I'll have a positive and a negative. Well, let's think the only way I can use 19, well, 20 and 1, 20 times 1 is 20. And then if I go negative 20 and positive 1, those two added together give me negative 19. Okay? So we already, I kind of rushed through that just because we already know how to do that. Let's get to the good part, the box. Okay, so our first term goes here. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can actually see. Our last term goes here. Okay, we're going to have a positive 1x and a negative 20x. Okay, this one's easy. What do these two have in common? Just 1x, right? Okay, what do these two have in common? Hopefully you thought negative 5. Okay, how do I get from here to here? I multiply it by 4x. Then how do I get from x to 1x? I multiply it by 1. Okay? So that's it. So we have 4x plus 1 and x minus 5. Alright, hopefully the more you see this, the easier it gets. Let's do number 3. Okay, if you need to write this down, just pause the video and copy it. Okay, so number 3, we have 8y squared minus 10y minus 3. Well, 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. We're adding to negative 10. Remember, if this is negative, I'm going to have a positive and a negative. So how many different ways can I multiply to 24 and get 10? There's 6 and 4, but one of them has to be positive, and that won't work for this one. Did you guys think of 2 and 12? Because 2 and 12, if the right combination, will give me negative 10. If I use positive 2 and negative 12, that will get me negative 10. Okay? So draw a little box. 8y squared goes here, negative 3. Take these and attach a y to it. 2y, negative 12y. It doesn't matter which order you put these in. It does not matter at all. Okay, so let's think. What do these two have in common that I can take out? Hopefully you thought 2y. Okay, what do these two have in common I can take out? Negative 3. And then how do I get from here to here? I have to multiply by 4y. Then how do I get from here to here? A 1. Look at that, we have our factors. So we have 2y minus 3 and 4y plus 1. Okay, and that's our factored form. Okay, so take a minute, pause this video if you need to write this down. I'm going to move on to the next one, number 5. Number 5. Okay, so we still draw our little box, or a little triangle, or X thing. Gosh, I don't know my shapes today. 10p squared minus p, remember this is 1p, minus 2. So 10 times negative 2 is negative 20. We're adding to negative 1. And if this is negative, I have a positive and a negative. Okay. So we got 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. I think 4 and 5 might be a winner. I think if I go positive 4 and negative 5, I'll get negative 1. Okay. Excuse me. So we'll draw a little box. 10p squared minus 2, 4p, and negative 5p. Okay, remember, it doesn't matter what order these go in. Okay, so let's do these two. What do these two have in common? Hopefully you thought there's at least a p and then 2, so 2p. Okay. These two look like they don't have anything in common except for the negative sign, so we'll say -1. Okay. And then this goes into this, so 10p squared divided by 2p is 5p. Okay. 4p divided by 2p is 2. And that's our factors. Okay, we can double check this by doing this. 2p times 5p is 10p squared. 2 times 2p is 4p. 5p times -1 is -5p. And 2 times -1 is -2. So it works. So our answer is 2p minus 1 times 5p plus 2. Okay? We only have a few more left to do. Okay. This time we're multiplying to 4 and we're adding to -4. Remember, if this is positive and this is negative, I'm going to have two negatives. Sort of the only two numbers that both add to 4 and multiply to 4. 2 and 2. 2 and 2. And they're both negative because they're adding to a negative number. So, draw a little box. 4a squared, 1, -2a, and -2a. Okay. What do these two have in common? Hopefully you thought 2a. And then these don't look like they have anything in common except for if this number is negative, you want to take out the negative. So this has a -1 in it. Okay. These two have the same thing that these two have in common because they're exactly the same, so that is also 2a. And since these two are exactly the same as these two, they both also have a -1 in common. So our factors are 2a minus 1 and 2a minus 1, or 2a minus 1 squared. Okay, you can write it either way. So I'll write or 2a minus 1 squared, since they're exactly the same. All right, on to number 9. So we are helping some big numbers here. 6 times 12 is 72, but it's negative, so -72. Adding to +1. Since this guy is negative, I'm going to have a positive and a negative. So let's think. We've got 6 times 12, 1 times 72, 2 times 36, 3 times 24, 4 times 18, 6 times 12, 8 times 9. I think 8 and 9 will work because 9 minus 8 is 1. Okay, so 8 and 9. If you thought of that already, I just wanted to list all the numbers anyway. Okay, so we have 6x squared, -12, 9x, and -8x. Okay, let's do these two. What do these two have in common? What can I take out of both? What can I divide out of both? 3x. Okay. These are both negatives. I'm going to have a -4 because they both can let 4 go into them. Okay, if I want to get to 6x squared from 3x, I have to multiply it by 2x. And then 9x divided by 3x is 3. Okay, so our factors are 3x minus 4 and 2x plus 3. I really like this method because what you can do is you split it up into 4 things instead of the whole thing. You could take each little box by itself and say, well, or each little row by itself, what do these two have in common? And then what do these two have in common? And then what do these two have in common? And what do these two have in common? So what you're doing is you're taking the GCF 4 times. That's really all it is, and I think it really breaks it down nice and easy. It takes a while to get used to, but if you remember multiplying polynomials using the box method, it's pretty easy to factor them using the box method as well. Okay, so we only have 3 more examples left to do. Okay, so this time, look for a GCF first, then factor the trinomial. So look for GCF first, because otherwise you're going to get some crazy huge numbers that I don't think you want to factor. Okay, so looks like I can take 5 out of everything. So let's do that first. So 5, this would end up being 2k squared plus 15k plus 7. Okay, that looks a little bit more manageable. So in this new one, remember this is that annoying friend that doesn't go anywhere. He's always there. He or she, they're always there. They never go away. They just hang on to you. They're like a leech. So when we're all done, he stays there. So 2 times 7 is 14, and we're adding to 15. They're both positive, so we're going to be dealing with positive numbers. And hopefully you can look at this right away and say, well, what numbers multiply to 14 and add to 15? That's 14 and 1. Okay, hopefully you saw that right away. All right, little box. We put our new trinomial here, this guy, not this guy, the new one that we have. So 2k squared, 7, 14k, and k, 1k. Okay, so these two only have a k in common, so that's nice. These ones look like I can take 7 out of both. Well, to get from k to 2k squared, I have to multiply it by 2k. And then this one, I just have to multiply it by 1, which makes sense. So our factors are 5, can't forget that annoying 5 out there, k plus 7, and 2k plus 1. Okay, so hopefully this is getting easier as we go along. Let's do number 13. GCF first. Well, what goes into 15, 18, and 24? 3. 3 goes into all of those. So we have 5y squared minus 6y minus 8. Okay. So 5 times negative 8 is negative 40. And we're adding to negative 6. So that means we're going to have a positive and a negative because this number here is negative. Okay. Well, we got 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10. Oh, I think 4 and 10 would work. I think if we go positive 4 and negative 10, we'll get negative 6. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do our little box. We have 5y squared. Remember, it's our new one, not the original. Minus 8, 4y, and negative 10y. Okay. These two only have a y in common. 4 and 5 don't go together, so y. These are both negative, so I'm going to have a negative number, a negative 2. Okay. If I want to take 5y squared and divide it by y, I will get 5y back. And then y times 4 will give me 4y. So our factors are, our 3 goes out front, y minus 2 times 5y plus 4. Alrighty? Okay, let's do the very last one, number 15. GCF first. We have 12, 24, and 15. I think the same number goes into all 3 of these that we took out last time, and that's 3. So 4m squared minus 8m minus 5. Okay. So we are multiplying to negative 20 and adding to negative 8. So since this is negative, we have to have a positive and a negative. Let's see, we got 1 and 20, 2 and 10. I think 2 and 10 will do it. If we have a positive 2 and a negative 10, we'll get negative 8. Okay. Draw our box. So we have 4m squared minus 5, 2m, and negative 10m. Okay, we can start this way too, it doesn't matter. What do these two have in common? Hopefully you can see that they both have a 2m in common. These two are both negative, and they can both be divided by 5, so negative 5. To get from here to here, I have to multiply by 2m. And to get from here to here, I just have to multiply it by 1. So our final answer is 3 times 2m plus 1 times 2m minus 5. Okay, and so if this doesn't quite make sense yet, we'll do the rest of these examples together as a class, so I don't want you to freak out. Okay, don't freak out about this. It's okay if it's still new. You're learning. If you haven't seen this before, you're totally fine. Okay, you don't have to get it the first time, but I at least want you to try. That's the big thing. Do not give up. Try, okay? If you really want to learn, you will try. If you don't, you'll just give up, okay? And we can have a discussion about that if we need to. But hopefully this will make a little bit more sense when we go through it as a class. Your test on this is on Wednesday. Remember, you can retake it, so it's okay if you don't get it the first time. As long as you try. I can't stress that enough. Just try. All right, so that'll do it for concept number 3.